Hello everybody and welcome back to the Manchester Major. I'm here joined by Demo. Here we are back together. We are going to be... we're on the wrong way around. Oh dear.
I'm not you. You're not me.
I mean, it is one of those things. Maybe I'll be Demo today, maybe I'll lose my mind, and maybe you'll be a little bit more stoic and a little bit more wise.
Maybe I'll grow about 6 feet.
Yeah, or maybe you'll just grow up in general. Who knows? We have got some Siege coming your way as we enter into Phase 2. We are now in the Swiss format stage of our competition. We've been through the best of threes that we went in during Phase 1, and it is now a Swiss system. So winners play winners, losers play losers. But before all that, we need to find out who the winners and who the losers are. So this is going to be the day of 0-0 games. And then later on in the afternoon, we will get into those 0-1 matchups. We are going to be looking at DZ versus Beastcoast here on the B stream coming up. Let's have a look at both of these two teams. I'm sure you're all familiar, but it is going to be an NA derby here.
Yeah, we get stuck on the North American showdown for some reason, but here we are. But look, no, two very well-established sides. Probably DZ more than Beast Coast, you would say. But look, Beast Coast, I think, are probably a team that we have to talk about first because they are the side that came out first inside of North America. So that's something that you have to respect and give credit to them. Look, this team is formed of players who we had seen previously in other teams in last season. You think about Hot and Cold coming in from SSG. You think about Gunner and Sonics. You Gav on DZ going up against his old team. You've got Spirits, who we haven't seen really in a top team and a top LAN for quite a while, but I remember him back in the MA days. And you also bring in a new player who's never played a LAN before in Diffuser.
Exactly. This is, it seems strange to call it, and I call it this team with a bit of love behind it. It's kind of the MUT team. It is the team made up and comprised of the players that did get dropped on previous rosters, but it hasn't stopped them.
Nope.
They finished top inside of NAL. They had a lights out season. They had a very slow start, granted, but once they got going, they were absolutely tearing through sides. 7-2, 7-3s. They were pretty stompy in their results and fixtures. On the flip side of the coin, we've got a very well-known org here. We've got a very known team inside of DarkZero. Yeah. The core, it hasn't changed all too much.
Canadian and Sons.
Canadian and his merry men. It hasn't changed, of course, since SI with the addition of Nath coming in. SI was Nath's first event with this org. Now they've had a whole season of NAL and they've got a bit more time to gel together.
He's got a banana. He's at it again.
There it is.
Of course, Bolo here. Bolo coming back into the swing of things. We weren't really expecting that after he announced the retirement, and we seen him just kind of go full into the content creator side of things. But no, he makes an appearance. He comes in, says, has a bit of an interest, says he wants to get back into playing again. DZ take the opportunity. They make that switch at SI. And look, I'm not going to sit here and say that Bolo was back to his best. He was lights out. I thought SI... It was unlike Bolo, because you really thought he was going to come in. What he's done previously, he's lifted a hammer before, but no, it was a pretty mediocre event for him. Going in towards, I suppose, you look at the kind of stage for him as well, and you would hope that, once he settles in, he could do a little bit better. Again, still not hitting a positive rating, 0.99, just nearly there, but not quite throughout his stage inside of North America. But look, it's Bolo. We know what he can do. We've seen it before. It's just, can he hit those heights again?
Exactly, and I think it comes down to a few things, doesn't it? Obviously, the SI for DZ was a big sort of stamp of saying, right, this is what we're going to bring, this is what we're going to try and do. They've now had that stage to really get, in amongst everything and figure out how they want to start to formulate and how they want to start to try and function as a side. But there's a lot of talent on this team. It runs deep. Pambazoo, player that you're always going to want to try and keep an eye out for, can have a fantastic impact onto the round. You've got NJR just for a little bit of, I think, safety in some ways. He is that backline player, and then you've got people like Canadian, Nath, Bolo as well, all going to be running through it.
Do you want to have a talk about Nath? Obviously, comes in UK, which is he lives 20 minutes away from here, so it's quite a handy commute for him. But look, Nath comes in. We've seen him before in previous roster with the M&M lineup, of course. One thing that Nath, I think, really brought to this side is it gets him out of that slow, methodical playstyle that DZ were kind of known for. I think Nath can shotgun really well. He can bring it in and can have those quick impacts. I think in this current meta you need to have. You think about how Brazil have dominated, where they see an opening and they go for it, and that usually wins you around. So I think Nave can bring a lot to the table in that regard. But again, look, DZ, they are against a side that they have lost to twice this season. Beastcoast, like you mentioned, apart from really the first couple of games that they had, where I think they had the default win against Mirage, and then they lost their next two, you were probably thinking, oh, same again for Beastcoast, the side that's been put together, nothing's going to come off it, but then all of a sudden, this team just starts beating everyone that comes in their way, and DZ were no exception. They 7-1 DZ in the best of one during the regular stage, and then they beat them 2-1 in maps in the best of three.
Beastcoast were pretty unstoppable throughout the stage. You've mentioned there they had a bit of a slow start. They lost to Luminosity. They also lost to Wildcard. So, as you say, you were questioning that, and you were saying, you know, is this the team that we're expecting to be? Then they come out on 7-3 Sonics. Then they come out again in 7-1 DZ. That's not a close fixture by any stretch of the imagination. It was a 7-5 against SSG. Anyone that's been watching the stream for the past couple of days, we commented on SSG and how they didn't play too badly overall inside of NAL. Their games ran a little bit closer, and they were one of the teams to push Beastcoast a little bit further.
The only teams that beat them are the teams that actually aren't here. It's the lesser sides in NA that they lost to. They go up against all of the big sides, the sides that are here, they beat them all.
M80,
they
7-1.
They 2-0'd M8 in the grand final, like it was nothing.
A lot of potential on this roster, and it does just go to show that, you know, these are talented players. We know that to be a fact, and whether it's a bit of honeymoon period that they've got going on at the moment, whether that's, you know, something, you know, bringing a rookie on can always have a nice little impact, can't it?
Look at the stats across Beastcoast during the stage. All of them hitting a rating above 1.03. All of them playing their role. All of them playing to the best of their ability. I'm pretty sure they have, out of the top 5 players in terms of cost, and cost, if you don't know, is your kills, objectives, survivability, and also trades. They have 4 out of 5 in the top 5 in terms of being able to do something. Basically, cost is the way you look at it. If you have a good cost, it means that you actually played well during that game. It means that you did something. They're always doing something.
Busy little bees. You can see the players are chilling out for the time being. We've not quite got everybody into the lobby yet, just getting everybody set up and ready to roll. These guys are going to be, you know, what do you think about this demo? In terms of this being the first game of Swiss, where you're thinking about it and you're prepping, you're on the flight over, or, you know, it's a couple of weeks before and you're thinking, right, first game of Swiss, we're going to prepare ourselves. We obviously don't know exactly who we're going to be playing at this point, but as soon as we find out, you know, this is going to be the action plan. You get into it and you draw a team that you've already played inside of the NAL. You draw a hometown or home country team. What's the thought process going into that? Because it's got to be a little bit different than if it was an international matchup.
Well, here's the thing for DarkZero. Seeing the matchup, you've played against these guys before. I'm sure you've scrimmed against them before as well, because they are in your own region. You're going to know them extremely well. But the issue is that you've played them twice and they beat you twice. So you just can't go in doing the same thing. You're going to have to do something different. I think right from the get-go, DZ are the teams on the back foot. They're the ones who have to change. If they go in against Beastcoast the same way they did previously, Beastcoast will just wipe them to the side again. That's what will happen. So DZ, they are the team that needs to change.
DZ, the team that need to, you know, like you say, buck that trend. They've lost of recent to Beastcoast a couple of times. You can see them getting into a little bit of a huddle here. Another question, Demo, obviously with them playing each other quite a bit, they've played a best of one, they've also played inside of a best of 3. There's a big question mark over what map we're going to end up on here, because you start thinking about it and you're like, well, are DZ going to let a map go through that they've already lost to Beastcoast on? Possibly not. Both of these teams, excuse me, have got some pretty serious permabans. Oregon and Border is just a no-go for DarkZero. That's a 15-band Oregon and a 10-band Border, so they do not want to go there one little bit.
Yeah, you look at Bank as well from Beastcoast. It's a map that they've banned first twice against DZ. I think they know that DZ are very comfortable. Team on Bank, where again, I think that slow methodical play style, it actually suits DZ really well. So yeah, I think Beastcoast will know exactly what they want. And of course, in the best of one, it's a lot easier to get a map that you like more so than the map that you don't really want to go to. So I think either which way we look at it, both teams will be happy with the map, just because it is going to be a best of one, the same way that both of them went to Chalet in the best of one during the stage. So they're both happy in Chalet.
Well,
so that works.
Chalet is a top preference for Beastcoast currently. It's a little bit lower down there for DarkZero, but it's, you know, it
still play
fluctuates a little bit. It is one that they will still play, and especially when they've got a couple of permanent bans.
Yep.
They get left in with a position of very little choice. They end up having to go to that. So let's have a look at the map ban and just see exactly where we are going to be headed on for this one. We didn't quite get the synchronized huddle at the time, did we? We got a little huddle coming out from DZ and a huddle a bit later coming out from Beastcoast. But Skyscraper will be the first removed. Although That's Team Bliss. Are we letting,
And E1.
Are we letting Bliss and E1 do the bans?
We got a rematch
for DZ and Beastcoast.
That's a bold move, Carter. See if it pays off for them.
I'll tell you what, though, that would be a really interesting way of playing a sort of
let other teams
a
pick
more
what?
for fun
Oh, my
game.
word.
It could be a deeper system than Swiss. It could be like Swiss Pro, where the other teams and then there's just a whole new level of analytics and strat that goes into it. We'll get that fixed and we will get back into the veto and just see exactly where we are headed. Here we go for the second time. Oregon is going to be removed there by DZ.
What a shock.
No surprise there. That puts it to 16 times there.
Oh, what a shock.
Bank gets taken away. Bank is DZ's best map currently, so it makes sense for Beastcoast to remove that. We're going to see the border ban next, so DZ really not straying from their protocol here.
Yeah, border last map that they played against each other on, and it was a 7-3 victory for Beastcoast, so yeah, no surprise to see DZ get rid of that. Labs, again, Labs I always thought was, DZ were one of the early adopters inside of NA whenever that map was put back into the pool, and you know, DZ, they played a lot, I think, during the first stage last year, so yeah, no surprise to see them also get rid of Labs. So at the moment, I think it's just running its course. But there is like a few maps I'm still like, you know, Skyscraper still up, for example. It's always a fun one to see.
Yeah, Skyscraper not somewhere that Beastcoast will be wanting to go to either. That is a map that they do like to remove. Chalet, Clubhouse, Sky, there it is. It's going to be DarkZero to actually take that one out, so trying to manipulate a little bit. With that being a bit of a perm ban here for Beastcoast, I would be surprised to see DarkZero take that away, but they did want to get it out of there and not leave it as something that maybe Beastcoast have been hiding. It does ultimately mean that we will be headed to Cafe here, with DZ starting on that defensive side.
Yeah, Cafe, it's a map that, I'm not mistaken, whenever they usually go up against each other, yeah, it's always Beastcoast that ban it, but it was always a very late ban. So I don't know if it's something that they maybe wanted to, you know, to keep hidden. And again, it is best of one. I think the mentality you have with best of ones as well is you can almost just throw this map away if you want to. Again, best of ones, look, anyone can win a best of one. We know best of threes is where we really start to see the competition. So I think it is a bit of a risk, mostly because I think it comes down to not so much the strat work, but more the gun skill more than anything. And we know there's people there like Pamba, for example, who will just pop off on you and just drop 20 kills in the blink of an eye. So it is always, I think, a little bit of a risk for Beastcoast, but still, I think it's going to be a good map for them.
Something to note going into this, and I almost feel terrible bringing this up on air demo, but it was brought to our attention, so we are going to bring it to your attention. Diffuser, it is his first time playing in a LAN here. He is obviously one of the star players, really, at the moment for Beastcoast. Come in on his rookie season and played lights out, had a really big impact, sort of tending in and around that flex role, but still producing a lot of kills, going plus 31, so a player that you're really going to want to try and keep an eye out for. However, what he does in the server, he kind of lacks a little bit that in some real life planning, because today he forgot his in-ears. And obviously, I mean, it's not very obvious, but if you don't know, the way that the players go is they've got in-ears and then they have the big cans, those big noise cancellation headphones over the top, and that is how you rock and roll. So if you play with anything other than in-ears at home, it's going to be different when you come to a LAN, so that's why a lot of players use the in-ears. So we can see there that he is rocking some borrowed headphones there. He managed to scrape some together. We are near quite a big shopping centre, so I don't know if someone ran out and picked some up for him, but it does just go to show a little bit of lack of planning there, something maybe that you're thinking, you know, first LAN nerves, you don't want that sort of piling into it. I hope it doesn't affect him today, but definitely it's always worth highlighting, because you think to yourself, how ready for this game are they?
I think the good thing is, though, is that the other four do have a lot of experience. Like, they do, and I think that's going to help them a lot. You know, Hot and Cold has been one of the longest servients in the game. I think him and Canadian might be the only two remaining oldest players in the game who have been here since year one, day one, from the very beginning, whenever Pro League was built. Those two have been there all the way through it. So I think that's a very exciting storyline, is that we have two of the oldest playing players here at the event going up against each other on day one for them.
There's a lot of previous teammates ties in this one as well. We've already mentioned about Gav.
Yep.
It runs a little bit deeper than that. It's NA, so of course, you're playing a home region game. You are going to get some sort of cross-pollination there in that, and you are going to get players that have recently or somewhat recently been on the roster. And I think it's a good opportunity for the players of Beastcoast. One of the reasons I believe why they've done so well inside of NAL this stage is because they've been trying to prove themselves. Because they were some of the players that got dropped. They were the players that had to come together to find this new home. You've got a little bit of a chip on your shoulder, and you're like, you know, you've got to prove yourself that you're worth it, you aren't the problem. And they've certainly gone in there and done that with their performance. But we are going to be ready to get ourselves stuck into game.
Here we go. Cafe on the cards for Beastcoast versus DarkZero. Will Beastcoast continue this momentum that they have had throughout all of Stage 1, or will DarkZero finally get a bit of revenge in here?
Let's have a look and see what our bans bring us here. Dokeby getting removed first there. Beastcoast going to be running through their ban here as well. Going to be the Ying. No real surprises there. Both shields left available.
Yeah, scary.
Demo.
Yeah.
Obviously, shields have been a big talking point and will remain a big talking point throughout SI. Fenrir getting taken out there as well. Fenrir has slipped through a few times, and it always does surprise me because
terrifies me.
It's such a scary operator to go up against. Final ban coming in. Going to be the Azami.
Yeah, I think those bans are pretty default, like very default. I'm very happy with that ban selection. Look, you still have your Grim up, so it's not going to be totally done for the attacks. You know, they still have some form of pushing power that they can gain, and also the shields, of course, which hopefully we'll see some of that Monty and Blitz action, especially for, you know, Kitchen, for example, a very strong site for the shields. Defense band, yeah. Two are probably the best defender bands you can go for in this map. I think the only one you could probably argue is maybe the Solus as well, because there is a lot of vertical play on this map. So being able to see, you know, where that diffuser is being planted and try and deny from below, yeah, massive thing. But yeah, look, Azami going to be... She's that power operator that you see inside a piano, for example, and remove that, it just makes that attacker's job just a lot easier. And yeah, Fenrir, like I mentioned, speaks for herself, just how good he is.
Yeah, whenever there's a lot of windows and you can try and hold on to an area like piano, Azami becomes an incredibly good option. And for DarkZero, they love playing a little bit of Solus. So it isn't something that they are going to choose to remove. And in fact, with them starting off on the defense, they do get to reap that benefit right from the get-go. They're going to take us to mid-floor site here. We're going to be down in Reading and Dining, one of the more popular mid-floor sites. We don't always see the old dining and mining side of things. The Reading being a little bit more popular. You do extend, however, into mining and train, and of course you need that upstairs pressure as well. Quite a bit of information kicking around with those Maestro cameras. That's definitely something to keep an eye on, and it will need to be dealt with here on this approach. And of course, as I already mentioned, you've got that Solus, you've got a nice little bit of denial there in Nath on those Vulcan canisters as well with the Goyo. So plenty of things going for DarkZero here.
So Cafe, attack. One thing that you always need to make sure that you can do on this map in the first opening 30 seconds is stay alive. I know that may sound, you know, very... What do you mean stay alive? Obviously I'm going to stay alive. Not a map where there's about 20 million spawn peaks, so you have to be very, very careful of getting into the building. And right now, talking about getting into the building, Diffuser's almost trying to walk into that mid-floor, but absolutely shut down by Canadian. Sitting inside of the train, big old LMG. He's as happy as Larry. I don't even know who Larry is, but I know he's happy.
Do you respect the push? Do you respect the chance? I think Diffuser maybe got a little bit too hasty there. Obviously, he's got a bit of support with him. Gaveni now going to hop in and get put to 1 HP. Canadian's got an awesome long line of sight there. If he jumps into the Maestro camera, he could quite easily finish him off. Gonna get taken down elsewhere by NJR. With Gaveni on 1 HP, this isn't looking too good.
Oh, the remaining 3 players just clogged up in towards red stairs. Obviously, they went for something very quick. They've tried to gain control of Train right from the get-go, but Canadian has not let them in, and Canadian also has a Maestro camera supporting himself that he can flick onto, and don't forget the HP that Gaveni's on. He will die to 1 zap of that, and oh dear, NJR gives himself up, gives a kill back in favor of Beastcoast, but here comes the Monty, can unextend the shield, can run in now just like he's a blitz, but the coverage is great from DarkZero, making sure that Canadian can stay alive, and Spirits is all by himself. It's inside of mining, Diffuser cold in the floor right in front of him, flashbang to try and keep Canadian at bay, but we know there's 2 hungry roamers ready for him, both of them stacked up inside of Pillar. Another flashbang, here comes the swings almost. There we go, finally, Bolo, with that long angle, using that ACOG, picks up a quite big kill there, just to get that first round over the board. You know, that first round, Ollie, we talk about it all the time. It's so important, especially on LAN.
This is one of the best things about watching a DarkZero game with Canadian in it, because you just know there's going to be a lot of shouting. there is going to be so much banter going on, and especially with it being against a fellow North American team, you know that it's just going to get more and more and more over time. 2
matchups I want to see is Canadian up against Ashen.
Yeah.
Of course. And I also want to see Canadian up against Twister. Twister! You know, that's what we want to see.
I think it's just Canadian up against anybody, and if they're going to talk back, even better, because you know that the banter will be flowing.
And what I love as well is that Canadian will beat anyone in Orbit because he can just say, I'm an old man and I'm killing you. That's it, you're done.
There's no comeback. And he said it before. He's even said it himself.
I'm just an old dude. You're losing to me.
He's usually got the worst gun in the game.
That's it, worst gun in the game.
Didn't have the worst gun in the game last round, though. The Alder's class.
Alder's good. Alder's very good.
And he made it work.
Especially whenever you have a lot of different softballs. Where he was, you had that first set of softballs in towards mining and then that triple softball. With that, Alder, you spray. You get a bit of in from the Maestro, just go for it.
We saw just how devastating that could be. Downstairs we go into kitchen. It's Nath this time on the Solace. Canadian going to be bringing the Echo. Nothing really got going in the previous round from Beastcoast. We never really got onto their lineup. But this time at least, they do have a Ram in tow. So that means one thing. It means that they are going to be taking that top floor control. Some serious screaming going on in the arena.
Don't have a clue. Don't have a clue.
Not sure how much of that you can hear, but the team's certainly sounding up for it. That top floor control, very important here. Of course, we've got Gunner. He's going to be rocking that Ram, and Gaveni going to be on the Jackal as well. Bolo kicking things off with a kill on to Defuse. That's the second round in a row we've seen him opening picked, and more importantly, Demo, not traded.
No, and the opening pick that's happened, it looks to be he's just tried to slip and get an easy kill, and he's been punished both times because of that. And this seems to be a very similar round as what we've seen previously, where there's just bodies dropping from Beastcoast, and nobody's really responding to that. You know, nobody else is there to try and kill some of the players from DarkZero. Did you see an Echo Cam just in the air? I don't even know what's going on there from Canadian, but he sacrificed an Echo Cam. He got a little bit of information, but I don't know about that one. But yeah, 3 versus 5, minute 30 to go. You've lost the round, which you mentioned, you know, very strong operator, especially for the vertical site, such as Kitchen. He's only managed to get just opened up that top red corridor, and that is it.
And especially when you're trying to use the Hibana to get the breach open, you need that Ram, you need that ability to just ensure that no one's tucked in behind the wall. There's no denial on the wall at the moment, but you're going to want to get that dealt with because you need to take control here of Bakery. And with NJR's positioning, you know, you should be able to clear a warden out of a Bakery position. It isn't the most difficult thing in the world. Now the stuns start to come in and we can start to see a bit of a push. Spirits is going to find one, but immediately traded out. Canadian there, just happy to peek out from beside that bomb chassis. Gets a couple of shots into Gaveni as well, and with Gaveni super low, Hot and Cold now needs to try and come to the fore and assist him.
Oh, there we go. Hot and Cold eliminates Canadian. Echo off the board, but I don't think he had any Echo cameras left, I don't think. Maybe he has one, but it doesn't look to be the case. Oh no, Pamba is retaken above and he's making vertical holes using his shotgun, so this can put pressure on the guys in sight who want to try and get the diffuser down. And Hot and Cold and Gabby, you can see they're panicking only. They're trying to just move through the site, but there's nowhere safe that they can sit with that shotgun above. It means that the other players who are still in the site can just start moving up, playing off Pamba's pressure and get easy kills.
Round 2 already. He's going nuts.
All I hear is, that's all I hear.
All it is expletive. Expletive. Timeout from Beastcoast.
Oh, he's brilliant, isn't he?
I mean, if all Canadian's going to do is scream throughout this entire timeout, you wonder how effective it might be. There's not a long time in these timeouts. He's still not shut up. And there's only 25 seconds left to actually get some important information across.
Still going.
Mint sat there grinning like a Cheshire cat because he knows just exactly what this is doing. A very early timeout here from Beastcoast. Things haven't been going their way. They've been losing that opening pick. And to be honest, Demo, I don't even think we've seen the pushes that they want to try and bring here. They're not getting past this setup that's going on here from DarkZero. And with the greatest respect in the world, it isn't the most complicated setup. DarkZero are doing a fantastic job of winning those gunfights at the moment. They're getting that opening pick, which is really opening things up, and players are then able to play a little bit looser, a little bit faster. Beastcoast at the moment, I don't believe we've seen the siege that they want to play here today.
They're losing Diffuser immediately, and he is the second highest rated player coming out of NA, only behind Spoit. So that is, for him coming into the side, a massive achievement, just, to be runner-up to Spoit of all people. But right now, for the last 2 rounds, he has tried to jump in, get an early pick, and just been sent back. That is now becoming a bit of a trend. If it happens again, then I really do start to worry. Cafe, it is defender-sided in terms of NA. It's got a 55% win rate on the defense. Really, the worst site that the defense actually have is your reading and dining. It's actually a 27% win rate for the defense, which I think is a big surprise, because you look at mining and dining has been played 10 times and won 8 times for the defense.
We haven't seen that top floor site yet either.
It's 67%.
There's a lot of people that don't like it. The one thing that I always think about the top floor is I always just think about Ace, because he absolutely hates it, and he's got loads of nice little stats to trot out about how it's such a terrible site to defend.
It's only to be fair, it's only been played 3 rounds, but it has been won twice. So,
and you don't know what the context of that game was. If it was a bit stompy, then it starts to come a little bit. You can understand it a bit more there. But it isn't a popular site, and I doubt that we're going to see it. Spirits, he's keeping himself safe for the time being. This is one of the big problems with Cafe, and Demo, you mentioned, jokingly about getting to the building and staying alive. If you can get a glass on a rooftop miles away that can head glitch the rooftop and just spray through the walls, it is going to put a bit of pressure on, and Pamba's going to feel that here.
Oh, Pamba, are we thinking about a jump out? We could, but no, thinks against it, just instead takes out the drone and jumps up in towards stage. Now there's a player right on the stage window, but he holds firm. He's really worried that somebody's going to be coming over towards that west window. He also got a stim from Bolo, who has been pretty proficient on the dock. He hasn't really had to do much. It looks like, 4 kills, but none of them have really been big moments. Just been getting kills, and that's a massive one. Finally, we see the first kill go in favor of Beastcoast. Gunner eliminates that Solus, a massive kill on the grand scheme of things whenever you actually think about what Solus can do on a bomb site like this.
Hot and Cold's got himself onto red stairs. Beastcoast have seen the opening pick for the first time in this matchup so far. They've been able to keep a hold of it. Canadian, tempted to get a little bit loose here. We've seen him play site pretty religiously in the first 2 rounds, a Maestro and an Echo, but this time he's been unleashed onto the Mozzie.
Right now, this is not looking good for DarkZero. I can see the idea from Beastcoast. They just want to try and get the Monty walk straight in through mining and just try and plant. They've eliminated the Solus, which they know, so denial from below is really not going to be there, so they're relying on Maestro cameras, but again, you just put the shield in your back, you can just stun that out.
Well, Canadian's going to push himself up now. He doesn't know that this plant is going to be going down. If Hot and Cold gets it, it is going to be extremely difficult. Diffuser planted, and still a heavy presence outside here from Beastcoast. They know they don't need to push in. Bolo, he's going to find one onto Gunner. Looks like he could be tempted for a bit of a play here, but no, Gaveniev instantly shuts him down. The Monty has been dealt with. Canadian, he's going to start disabling that diffuser. NJR could cover him here quite easily. Gavenie going to finish off Nath as NJR picks one as he hops on in, but Canadian stuck it. Balls of steel.
What? I agree, Troy. I agree. How? Right. I'll wait till he's done, and then I'll have a go.
I'm not sure you can compete. So,
good attack from Beastcoast in the service. I knew that's what they're going to go for. Use the Monty. You can just ignore, all the Maestro cameras. You have that shield. You got a lot of health as well. Very easy to get the plant down. The coverage, though, was just not there, because the issue is that DZ had reinforced the very left-hand wall. Of that triple wall, they reinforced the very left-hand wall. We didn't see that opened up from Beastcoast. They left it just hard reinforced. He gets into the corner, he plants, but then the issue is if that wall's reinforced, you can no longer hold it from red stairs, which that's the biggest issue. Everyone just has to try and stop that from happening from just one window outside of mining on the balcony. You can't see that guy diffusing, it's a blind spot. I'm pretty sure there's also a guy rappelling on the double window and pillar. He was on that rappel. And again, he couldn't get that line of sight because that wall's reinforced. So where they planted, if the Monty stays alive, yeah, it's fine. I mean, if everyone stays alive, it's fine. But if you lose that Monty, you can get a very successful counter defuse because Beastcoast are not in the position to deal with a reinforced wall.
The impressive bit was Canadian killing the Monty.
I don't know how he's killed the Monty.
I don't know how he's done it. we didn't get a great view of it at the time.
What, was it Houghton?
Very scrappy.
I think it was Houghton, wasn't it? I don't know how that's happened.
He's dropped the ball in some way, because as a Monty, you shouldn't really be losing that. If you see the reinforced wall and you want to plant there, you can tuck yourself in. There's a chance you're going to try and stay alive. Canadian tempted for something here, just a bit of a wall bang or a bit of a barricade bang. Let him know that you're there. On the pulse, of course, can gather a lot of this information and can feed that back to his team and say, yep, guys, this looks like a cocktail push.
Well, we move into our reading bomb site now, and did mention this is actually quite a good place for attackers to see a bit of success, and that's what really Beastcoast need to have, is a bit of success. They have lost 3 in a row. They need to try and get some points on the board. Looking at their lineup, they do have the cap tower, you have the Grim, so you do have these strong operators that you can clear away people who could be in towards the top floor site, which usually that's where people will try and hold, is in towards the top floor. Got the pulse as well from Canadian, see if he can find anything on the windows. I mean, this is just really good info, because this will just filter through the entire map. You know, it's going to allow people to know what they can retake, what they can't retake, if there's someone's on that window. Just that active information is very, very strong. DZ, surprisingly, have kind of left the entire top floor, like, pretty open. There's nobody up there. You've got 2 guys kind of downstairs and just 3 guys in the site. So, honestly, Beastcoast can just walk in right now, but I suppose, if you're DZ, minute 15 left, and Beastcoast really haven't done anything.
I don't think you need to worry. Beastcoast needs to try and put the foot on the gas here. We haven't seen an opening engagement just yet. Bolo going to be making himself a nice long line. That's one that already Beastcoast have fallen to, just hiding out inside of that train cart and getting a great visibility through into the bottom of that corridor. We have Gaveni upstairs just trying to make something happen. He can do a little bit of vert there on the Ash, but the opening pick is going to come in. Hot and Cold takes out Canadian. Hot and Cold immediately going to hit the drop there. He feels like this is free. If he's getting covered from above, he can almost certainly get this plant down. There's nobody here to deny it. NJR there with a little bit of cover, as well as Gaveni on that door. With those track stingers sent out, it is going to be extremely tricky now to retake into this. And, well, DarkZero, they're on the back foot.
Bolo with the ACOG, trying to see if we can find some of these longer engagements, but we know that Beastcoast will just filter back out. They'll hold their angles. Nave will find a kill on the Spirits, and now DZ are on the lead. They're in the lead to see if they can maybe try and get the retake, but Gav in such a passive position. He has access straight onto the top of the diffuser, and Hot and Cold hasn't moved his feet. He's still here, and they start running at him. Gav appears. He does get traded off, but the job has been done. 7 seconds. No time left for Pamba to get anything on the board. Beastcoast, finally, we see a round from them.
Good initiative there, I think, as well. I think Beastcoast needed that for themselves as much as anything.
Big play.
Quietens Canadian down for a little bit. Obviously, we've mentioned they've got a rookie on the roster, so they are going to be, you know, saying, look, Canadian's going to shout. It's going to be weird. You're not playing at home anymore. You're not playing online. You're now in the same room as someone, and Canadian is going to say a lot of things, and it might scare you. But afterwards, he's going to give you a hug because he's actually quite a nice guy.
Yeah.
But when you're in the server, he's going to scream and shout. So obviously that nerve is going to start coming through, and we've seen that affect Diffuser a little bit already. But good for Beastcoast that they're able there to get around on the board. Great initiative, I think, from Hot and Cold. As soon as he picks that kill onto Canadian, he's instantly down there getting the plant.
Look at Canadian, right from the get-go, prone, trying to hide the clash. One thing that Beastcoast have not been afraid to show is the Monty. Clash is the perfect operator to go up against the Monty, because Monty just cannot move, and you're taking so much damage down to the taser effect. So a really smart play right from the get-go from Canadian.
10 seconds left.
Everything that they've had that could deal with the clash as well has now been 6-picked off.
There is nothing, mate.
You had a Kali,
Not a thing.
you've switched off the Kali. You had an Ash, you've switched onto the Buck. You haven't got anything to deal with this clash. You've got a couple of grenades, but aside from that, you can EMP it to stop the stun, but you can't do much about the shield. You've got to get up close and personal.
Like, there's Wamai going to be supporting the clash in Bakery. We know that this is the position that we seen NGR play the last time.
And NJR did a great job of holding on to Bakery last time.
He just had to waste time. I mean, he did die, but again, he wasted time.
I think he died in 40 when there was 40 seconds left on the clock.
That position it's a suicide position. You will die there. Yeah, I think everyone knows what happens if you want to be the small bake player. You're gonna have to sit in there and probably end up losing your life. But if you can waste the time and waste the utility, then yeah, you've done your job to a T. I think for Beastcoast, whenever they did try and go very direct in towards Bakery, they just really couldn't get anything on the board, mostly because they had lost players like straight from the get-go, which is a lot better this time for Beastcoast. Nobody's died. There were 2 players dead the last time they attacked here. I think if they just try and play it by the book, and they just try and open up all the flooring, then rotate the Monty down, they will have a much easier time.
And it seems to be that's what they're doing this time. And what plays into that quite nicely as well is that DarkZero aren't going for a really significant roam at the moment. They are just looking to try and play in and around these hotspots down on that first floor. Gunner gets himself in and gets value out of the ram this time. That's what we didn't see happen last time, and it forced Beastcoast into a less than ideal push for the operators that they brought. We've seen full value out of the ram now. There's no boogies left, and all the floors ripped open.
Yeah, you still have a buck as well, just to do any bits that you may have missed. The issue I think that they're going to have is, do they know about the Clash? Do they know about Canadian yet? Wherever a Clash is, they should go to the complete other side. That's the way it should work now. So I'm interested to see what the initial idea is from the attack. You know, where is Houghton going to go? He has the diffuser in hand. That's always the player that you look at. It looks as though it's gearing up towards that kind of white side, but they haven't went through the process yet, Ollie, of actually clearing out VIP and restaurant. You know, and they don't really have the operators to do that. You don't have your Grim. You don't have a Capital. So this is going to be difficult. Maybe a bakery now. They're going to rotate it.
It looks a little bit unsure, doesn't it? We've got the track stingers going in now. Could be a little bit of a bait as well, don't forget. They have heard the Clash or realised they might be thinking, well, we need to try and switch this up. Looks like DarkZero are throwing the kitchen sink at stopping them from coming through Freezer there. But isn't everybody pushing through Freezer? Hot and cold, he's going to make his way through Prep immediately and aggressively hops on over. He's going to try and make something happen here, but he's waiting for assistance from his team. You can see the pings going out there as Diffuser looks to try and put a couple of shots down range. Pamba, he's going to start getting chunked down a little bit as well. Bolo also low, but with only 20 seconds left and Gunner going down, it isn't ideal. Canadian, what's he doing? He's going on a walk. He's taking himself off upstairs, but Hot and Cold's in the side getting the plant down, and Spirits has got the cover. Bolo goes down. That plant's likely going to be confirmed, and all of a sudden it's a very difficult task. Canadian, where were you when DarkZero needed you the most? Now we're in a 3 versus 3.
But what this has done, though, they know no one's above. They can try and retake from the vertical angles, and they can still use Canadian as almost a drone to try and find these remaining players. He knows there's going to be one guy outside. Oh, almost Diffuser catches him as he went for that swing, but Diffuser is in such a good position. Houghton's still in the sight. He has the Monty. Another one lines up for him. Oh, a massive batch right to the skull of the smoke, and another one for Houghton. Oh my days, a huge round for Beastcoast.
We've got a game in our hands now here, folks. Beastcoast, they are starting to get a little bit hyped up in here, and they should be, because that was a fantastic round of Siege. We got a beautiful view of it, Demo. We called it the split push. It was a bait and switch. 3 Toxic Babe canisters to stop Freezer, and for what? It was just a ruse. There was nobody ever going to push through Freezer. Hot and Cold was already through Prep.
Great idea from Beastcoast. You know, it really did look as though that Beastcoast were going to attack the back. You know, they're sitting there spotting out the Cave Claw. They're, you know, opening up the White Wall, for example. And then they just completely switch it. They almost bait, because again, Gridlock, a very utility-focused operator. You can toss in the track stingers, toss in the smokes, the nades, whatever it is that you want to bring in. And yeah, everyone then from DZ was, you know, guns up, looking towards that white quarter, looking towards the hatch. The smokes were being tossed out as well. And like you mentioned, the Monty just comes straight in through Bakery, and that is the power of the Monty. That's the change that's happened, is that Monty can unextend and can move very, very fast, faster than you think. You know, he really can. So yeah, great attack. Look, you have to look at Canadian there. I get why he's going above. He's going above, expecting, you know, Beastcoast to play the verts. Makes a lot of sense. Nobody's up there. Everyone just went to Bakery, exfilled the site. If Canadian just goes in through Bakery there, they win that round. As easy as that, but he doesn't. He just doesn't go for that. And the thing is, look, we knew he could have just walked through the site with no issue.
He doesn't know that.
But he doesn't know that no one's above.
It's easy for us to say that, sitting here with the overhead view and the outlines and all of this sort of stuff. It's a difficult call to make in the moment, and on another day it would have been the right play to make. But Beastcoast, they are finally in this game. They pick up one round, you think, okay, do it again. Then they pick up round number 5 and you think, right, that was impressive. You got a great plant off there. You had a very clear strategy for attacking into Kitchen. Now there's a chance here to level things up, equal at 3 rounds apiece. This time we have got a new player to the party. We have Spirits playing the Deimos. He is going to be targeting out those players and looking to try and take advantage. One of the reasons at the moment why he's down inside of Kitchen is because you've got great wall bang potential. That Vendetta is going to rip through the floor, and you can easily get a couple of bullets cuts off.
And one thing we know from the last time DZ defended this is they put a lot of their resources actually downstairs. They weren't really interested in trying to hold above, so I think it's a good idea to kind of send just a lurker down here who may be able to pick up, you know, just someone who might come along. You know, it's what DZ have shown that they're doing, but look at the DZ though. They've put, I think, a little bit more upstairs. You know, you've got the mirror windows being placed upstairs along with the Wamai. Again, you still have this Monty from Hot and Cold. He's done a great job on it, apart from that one mishap that he had. But you know, it was a big character in that last round. And oh, is he up against him again? And it is. It's the wartime veterans going at it inside of trade. And Hodge is going to push straight up. And here we go. No, he's been baited. A long angle being held by NGR gets it down. And Canadian going to finish it off with a shotgun. The Monty is off the table.
Spirits will come through with the trade, and Gaveni is ready to collect here. That's a freebie if ever you've seen one. Can swing looking for a second, but that is advantage Beastcoast for the time being. They do have Gunner out there on the rappel. The diffuser should be able to be recovered, but it might not even get down to that. Gaveni's going to take down Pamba, and he's not done there. He's going to be continuing on and looking for more. He's got his eyes set toward Pillar at the moment. There is going to be a player just inside of that reading door area. NJR, real hot spot that he's found himself in with Bolo playing up above. What can these two cook right now? Don't forget the Deimos is still going to be active, and NJR will be getting spotted out on that. That Vendetta is not going to give a damn about any of those soft walls. It is going to rip right through, and you can see just one bullet there deals so much damage. Diffuser, he's going to end up taking down Bolo. He was trying to self-revive himself. The plant is going down. NJR finds one, but it's not enough. He's now in a 1 versus 3, making a 1 versus 2. He's picked up 2 on the round. This is going to have to be massive. The drone going to call him out. 2 players retreating up that white stair. They do have time to relax, take a breath, and get himself set up. We also have a player out on the rappel now. This is a great position that Beastcoast have got themselves in. NJR looks pretty dangerous for a time. Not sure he's going to be able to find the long arm angle onto that. He's looking for it though. But is any of him going to be exposed? Gunner, I don't think he can see him from the window, but NJR comes off. He knows that the pressure is mounting. He knows it's a 2 versus 1.
Huge comeback from Beastcoast. You know, from 3-0 down, where they just looked a little bit shaky the opening 2 rounds, just losing players right from the get-go. Now they're starting to feel themselves. Now they're really getting into the matchup. They've really salvaged that half.
It's like their season in NAL.
Starts off slow, and then all of a sudden, demolition job.
They started off terrible. They started off really slow. They started off, we had DarkZero running all over him. Canadian, he was shouting and yelling, and all of a sudden, bang, flick a switch.
Yeah.
Few things go right for him. They make some clever plays, and I think that's the thing to stress. They've played some clever siege there. We see fantastic strats. We see fantastic mechanical skill. I think they played, particularly that kitchen round 5. I'll keep coming back to it. It was extremely clever.
The pressure that they're applying is all around the map. They have never once looked, well, obviously apart from the kind of first 3 rounds, but those final 3 rounds, what we're really going to focus on for Beastcoast is they put pressure on every front around the map, so DZ never actually know where they're going to plant. They just don't. You think about that reading one. Houghton just runs in straight away, sees a gap, runs in. You're not expecting that. The kitchen, obviously they're expecting, oh, it's going to be white, you know, it's going to be in towards Freezer. No. And even in that round, it looked as though a lot of the pressure coming in from reading. You think about that Demo standing there. But no, all of it was going down inside of dining.
An equal half, 3-3 split. Round number 7 now. DarkZero, it's your turn to show us what you've got on the attack. Beastcoast, can you maintain that momentum? Can you keep things up here as you move over onto the defense? We've seen a very equal map so far. Lola going to be starting things off on the good old sledge. We do have a Deimos being brought by Pamba this time. A couple of quiet players on the side of DZ. I think someone that we would look toward as being a big player, a big moment player. Could be someone like Pamba, of course. Currently sitting 2 and 3, not really getting involved too much. Nay, 3 and 4. It's not been a high kill game by any stretch. NJR and Bolo have been doing a lot of the lifting work in terms of the kills, and with some of the quicker rounds earlier on, it's expected that that is going to be the case. But equally, for the side of Beastcoast, we've seen some good individual moments, but again, no one really standing head and shoulders. We've got Gaveni and Houghton both on 5 at the moment. That's not really who you would expect to be picking up a majority of those kills.
Pamba in the alert position downstairs on that Deimos, of course. We've seen Beastcoast use that operator. It was extremely well done. You play him as a lurk, and then whenever you get a man advantage, you just track somebody, kind of checkmate that player, go for that 1v1 engagement, win that, because, you know, you're Deimos, so you can see him for the walls quite easy. But at the moment, it's going to be DZ on the back foot, and no, 2 kills in quick succession. Gav and Diffuser will pick off NGR and Bolo alike. Nafe has tried to get a kill back, but nothing comes off, and down goes Pamba. Spirit rips him apart. And this is a very poor round from DZ, a 2 versus 5, minute remaining. No kills coming back in favor of DZ. I say that though, Canadian has got 1 back for Spirits. But Nafe is really struggling, Ollie, on this top floor just to find anything.
We look at the health available on Canadian as well. He's not got too much to go. Unfortunately for him, there's no Legion in play at the moment. Nafe, he sees the barrel of the gun and will find a first. It's going to have to be the first of a couple though if they're looking to try and level things up here. Still 2 versus 3 and not really working off too much information here, it seems. NJR's flicking a couple of drones, but aside from that, we haven't really got too much going on in the cameras. Nathan gets a shot at a second, but they will be allowed to rotate out of bathroom and get themselves likely to the top white position. Canadian looking maybe to go a little bit more direct now. Is there anything that he can find vertically? Getting caught out on that wub, and that will be giving quite a bit of info away. They are now going to double up, but immediately get banged there by Houghton, and the C4 is likely going to do the rest. But no, Gunnar sneaks in and collects that final kill. Not much left on Canadian there, so any splash damage from that C4 would have done it. But Gunnar said, hang on, I fancy a bit as well.
Looking at the strategy from both sides on the attacks, is it just feels very, you know, slow. You're looking for picks here and there, but if you don't get those picks and it goes in favor of the defense, does defense win? You know, that's what it feels like. Whoever's getting the opening pick in this matchup will win that round. I think it has, but I'm pretty sure it's been the conversion rate is been all in favor. Whoever gets that opening pick has won the round. Again, look, we see that all the time, just that extra man. You can play it in a lot of different variations on the attack. It's another extra angle or an extra backstab you can fit in. For the defense, it's an extra man you can trade off if the attackers are trying to push onto your defense. So
it has been the case in the first couple of rounds, but there were a few, particularly some of the better attacking rounds from Beastcoast where the opening pick wasn't traded. That was another round where it wasn't traded. So it kind of feels like, as you say, that advantage, whilst it is very important, I think Beastcoast have still done a great job from fighting from behind when they've not had it. And so far, for me, they've played the better Siege.
I think they've looked the better team.
They have looked the better team.
DZ got around in that defense that they should never have gotten. You know, that's the way you kind of look at it. But probably, apart from the first 2 rounds, I think everything else has probably been favored for Beastcoast.
Well, that was a timeout there for DarkZero, so both teams have used their timeout. Beastcoast used theirs incredibly early after round number 2, and we've seen DarkZero choose to use theirs just after round number 7, going into round number 8. Typically, the sort of way that a timeout is used, there's a lot of different schools of thought around it. You could wait until you see a full rotation of sites and then come back with something. You could also use it quite early if things aren't going well, like Beastcoast did, and that turned things around a little bit for them there. Because we've only seen one site, I'm imagining at the moment that there's something Mint has seen, whether it's heads dip, a bit of bickering, something along those lines to say, look, this is what we're doing wrong.
I even think it's the play style almost from DarkZero. Look at the lineup change compared to what they had previously. Look at that utility dump lineup that they have. That might be what they've seen and said, guys, they're playing very heavy roaming operators. They don't really have a lot of, you know, strong operators like fortification operators. You know, I'm seeing an L and a Legion, 2 traps. Warden, not going to bring you much either. You know, Beast Coast lineup is very fluid. It's very, I think, it's what they want to play. It's the more comfort operators for them, where they just want a gun.
They also want to jump out. I love it when you can see a player eyeing up a window because you can just feel that they're itching to send himself out of it. Diffuser didn't go for that option there. It would have likely ended pretty badly if he had. DarkZero have been allowed up onto the roof. Bit of Diffuser juggling now. But that is an incredibly heavy util lineup, as you mentioned, Demo. And with the way that Beastcoast play, it's not like they're setting themselves up a fort. There's no army. They're not building a base. They're looking to just be quite fluid and pick up kills wherever they are required. But if you're getting grimmed out, Deimos, and there's Capital Fire Arrows coming your way, it is not going to be a fun time if you've not got much util of your own as a defender to save you. Spirits thinking about a quick run out there, and he's going to be successful, but no, the Claymore! Brilliant game sense there from Bolo to place that Claymore. It's not a very popular Claymore, I'll be honest with you. And Spirits was really cautious. He opened the double and looked at both sides because he didn't want to get caught out there and didn't even imagine that someone would have put one on the corner.
Oh, and it's worked out really well because another kill comes in for DZ. Hot and Cold has got a kill back with the pistol, but there we go, 2 kills back in favor for DZ, and Hot all by himself, and his position will be known because he did get a kill previously down here. This will give DZ just the access to move on up. He does have the shotgun in hand and almost dies to nades that has been tossed to him by Canadian. Hot and Cold with a pistol. What can he do? Can he get it? No, misses the man. That would have been an important kill. That would have been the diffuser. Tries a swing onto pillar, but Pamba says not today.
Much better round there from DarkZero. They're starting to look like their round 1 and 2 selves again. Do we credit DarkZero for rounds 1 and 2? They won the rounds that were put in front of them. But Beastcoast, they had their foot off the gas. They really had their foot off the gas. So it's good to see DarkZero come back into it. That timeout has been good for them. And I think that new style that they're going to start to try and play, heavier on that util, it didn't really matter in that round, to be honest, because we saw Beastcoast getting a little bit too aggro.
It was a very minimalistic take from DarkZero. They weren't really interested in trying to control all of the map. They just said, right, we know there's a player here. Let's grim him out, let's cap down, let's just throw everything we have and kill that guy and just get a kill back. Whenever Beastcoast are giving themselves up, going for runouts, going for claymores, you know, DZ have to do very little. You know, this is where Beastcoast, I think they have to understand now. DarkZero are setting up in a way where they just want to take one part of the map. You now need to do everything you can to try and stop that. Or you give them it and try and play retakes, which they could. They have an Oryx, for example, who, again, Hot and Cold's trying to hide himself. I can already tell what he's going to try and do. He's going to try and go up the freezer hatch and retake the birds. That's what he's going to go for. Especially if we see DZ try and play, for example, in towards Bakery. They'll be making the verticals. They might be able to, you know, bring in Nomad, bring in Gridlock, clear away all the flanks. Oh, you haven't checked the hatch.
Yeah, there's not a real clear intent there of taking a lot of on the side of DarkZero. They've got a couple of breaching charges, excuse me, but they've not got a ram, they've not got a book, they've not got a sledge, they've not got these tools that are going to rip open a lot of the floor. With 2 breaching charges and a bit of secondary action, you're not really going to see too much opened there. So it will be more of a direct approach here, I imagine, and that could,
I think, just horizontal,
like,
isn't it? Yeah.
It could leave Hot and Cold open for a field day. The laser gates, of course, are going to slow things down somewhat, and not only that, but that DMR is a devastating weapon to boot.
There isn't really much that the defense have to try and defend Bakery. They have the Aruna gates and that's it. There's no Wamai, for example. It would have been very helpful whenever you're dealing with the Capitao. So I think this is free real estate for DarkZero. They can walk into Bakery with very little ease. You know, there's not one C4 and impact. That's really the only thing you need to worry about in terms of the Monty, what he needs to fear. I suppose, of course, you have the Oryx, for example, but look, hey, that's not an Oryx, that's Gunner. He's just been stabbed right before our very eyes, and that's the first pick, and look at this. Again, DZ, very similar to Beastcoast, they're trying to just prod and poke at both sides, and they're not really showing their full hand.
Well, they don't need to right now. Pamba, he's in a position to try and cut through this site at the moment. You won't have got a glimpse there. I believe the player transitioned just behind the small counter in front of the bomb. Diffuser, he's getting fire arrowed out now, and his moments are numbered. He's live info on the drone there for Canadian, and immediately taken out. The nade comes through from NJR. Nate, he's going to add on to the pain. Pamba's joining the party, and Spirits is left all on his own. Picks up one onto Bolo. When you're facing down against 4 players, one of them being a Monty, it's never going to be easy, and that's not even a breach that he can get out of. He's in a coffin right now, full white flash, picks himself another. Canadian claims the win condition, getting that plant down. As soon as that shield's extended, it is going to be very difficult for Spirits, and the rest of the players can just start to try and back off, but no, they're just going to hand him some exits here. This isn't a round that Spirits should be allowed to win. But he has managed to pick up 3 kills in the process.
Oh, look at Nate.
He's just going to immediately aggress. Does he know that the player is going to be upside down? Canadian, don't be dropping that shield. You've got to be super careful here. 20 seconds left on the clock. Nath on the upside down repel. Does Spirits know? He's looking. Not looking in the right direction, though. That's giving him the heads up, but Nath finishes him off.
Oh, touch and go for DarkZero. It's
Mint pulling a bit of a face there as well. It's like a fist bump, but a come on.
Needs to be better than that, fellas. And to be fair, it was a very strong attack from DZ. It was a complete horizontal take. They weren't interested in trying to take above. All they wanted to do was put a little bit of pressure on Bakery, rotate around, put a little bit of pressure in towards White, and then back over to Bakery again. They were always trying to keep Beastcoast on their toes. And one thing I really liked as well was the lurk from Pamba. Seeing that there's a heavy roaming presence from Beastcoast, I think there was, at least 2 players in and around the top floor area. If he can slip his way in towards that long bar area, down in towards Restaurant VIP, he can sit there and he can cover off the white flank, he can cover off the brown stairs flank. Very strong position to be in, and he got a kill from it.
Round number 10, 5-4, we sit. DarkZero 2 rounds away from locking this thing right up and sending Beastcoast into the 0-1 portion of our Swiss bracket. I don't think it is going to be that straightforward, though. This is going to be a big round, though, make no mistake, because it would put DarkZero on that match point. So, Beastcoast, no timeout, no opportunity to compose themselves. They've only got the time within the round and the prep phase. They are going to be defending downstairs, reading and dining, because we've already seen this site a couple of times already. Now they're starting to commit a little bit more demo. We look at the lineup, it's changed a lot. We've got a mirror, we've got a Wamai, and we've got Vulcan canisters. They are some of the 3 biggest intents of setting up a fort and setting up a base that we've got inside of this game.
Yeah, I think this is a much better lineup for Beastcoast, considering the play style that has kind of shifted for DZ, where it is more minimalistic. It's using utility, it's trying to just pile as much pressure as you can onto one area, and hoping that everyone in that area will just crack under the pressure. So I think right now for Beastcoast, it's trying to steady the ship. Don't give DZ that first pick where they can rotate that extra round. Don't allow Pamba to have that lurk roll anymore. Making sure your trade game is being covered off. And I think having the utility, I think also having the Doc as well, knowing you're up against a Capital, where if Doc is playing, a bit of a suicide position in towards the back of Cocktail, the Flames aren't going to affect him. I like that little change as well.
Canadian straight in here, and he's got the kit in his pocket. He's going to be using an impact TMP to get rid of the mute there and allow that wall to start getting open. Gaveni getting put under pressure. There is going to be a Doc, but can Doc get a stim to him? Diffused is going to be playing just over inside of that Cocktail area. He might not be able to get a line without exposing himself.
It just doesn't look fun playing against DZ right now. It really doesn't. There just seems to be a player just everywhere. And yeah, Beastcoast are really succumbing to the pressure. The push potentially coming in from the Capital, but Gav sits down Bolo, Pamba onto Gunner. Here comes the Monty though, Gav. Here comes Canadian, and he's going to need to try and get out of there. Diffuser still alive upstairs in the back of Cocktail, but here comes Canadian again. He just takes it one after one after one, and he's gone as well. They're terrified of the old man. He's like the old man across the street. He won't give your ball back.
Gaveni finally going to get juiced up now. But that top floor is in the firm hands of DarkZero. What can they do with it in this 50 seconds? They're going to pick up one onto Diffuser. NJR going to deal with that. Canadian's not done. He's dropped into laundry. He's got himself straight in there. You better hope that doesn't give him a rotate out, Spirits, because you want to keep him locked on in there. Spirits, he's seeing the full force here as NJR picks himself up yet another. Gaveni and Spirits, the only 2 left standing here from Beastcoast. They're going to find a couple of kills. Whoa. Spirits picks up 2. He draws for the pistol. They might be able to 2v1 here onto Canadian, and they're going to do it. Nate's left him high and dry. Finds one onto Spirits. It's a 1 versus 1. There's 15 seconds left. There is a long time here for White Flash waiting to go through. The swing comes out, draws for the pistol, but Nath makes it happen.
Oh, Nave, you've almost cost your team as well because you've just left Canadian in such a horrendous position. Oh, but he makes up for it. He finds the 2-piece. Oh, boy. Again, DarkZero. They're making it really difficult. Really, really difficult. They're opening half really strong. The way that they moved across that top floor. One mirror window, out. Next mirror window, gone. And they just keep moving across. The way Canadian's playing this Monty, he's showing no fear. He's being ruthless. He's being aggressive when he needs to. And he's making Beastcoast, get the toilet paper that Ashen was handing out to bleed. Go and get it, because they might need it right now.
It's scary how quickly he moves, because there's just no regard for what the space that they are gaining gives them. They're not interested in the space, they're just interested in pushing you back into a corner. And that's exactly what they did with Spirits. He was stuck, he had nowhere to go. He lasted for as long as he could and he picked up 2 kills. He did a great job. It comes down to a 1 versus 1. If we're in a world there where Nath for some reason doesn't have a flashbang left, all of a sudden that's a real 50-50 gunfight. At that point, with him having a flashbang, it's probably like a 70-30 and 80-20. There's still a chance that you're going to pick up the kill for White Flash because there's only a few places he can be, and you're going to spray the corner. One shot's a headshot, so you'd roll that dice. But it came down to a much finer margin than it needed to. DarkZero are going to be on a match point here now. Canadian sticking with that Monty. It's been working quite well for them so far, and we're slowly starting to see these players starting to come alive. We gave Nath a hard time. He's still 9-5. He might have sold Canadian in that last round, but he clutched it up, and he's still 9 kills, 5 deaths. We've got NJR. He's had a big part to play as well, some really important openings.
What I really love about Beastcoast is that they have also brought in Clash. You know, again, if you know a team's running heavy Monty against you, Clash is going to be your best friend. It's a full counter to Monty. Sure, maybe Canadian didn't show that in the last time we kind of seen that Clash versus Monty episode, but hopefully we'll see it be used very effectively by Hot and Cold, because again, Beastcoast, I still don't think they're out this, Ollie. I still think that they're going to be stuck in here. The way DZ have been playing, look, it's been looking really good, but then they've started fading away, and I think there's been opportunities as they've seen that Beastcoast, it could be 6 for the Beastcoast that really could, because DZ have allowed that door to be opened again.
I'm not sure if Hot and Cold there got a glimpse of the shield. It just depends on how far he went round that corner there, but Canadian, he's framing up for something in and around the freezer. He's got the wall open, waiting for that vert to be done by Pamba upstairs. There is a ram in tow as well. Nate's going to be sending out another one of those boogies right about now. So we've got the red hallway ripped up. We've got some floor missing as well inside of Train, and a bit of shorty action just to clear some of that debris. Camera there getting spotted out as Valkyrie makes an appearance, I believe, for the first time in this match. Usually a bit more of a staple on Cafe, but with so many options at this point, it's not always brought.
Well, time is slowly moving away from DarkZero, and they still haven't attempted, of course, with the VIP restaurant execute that you need to go for a big kill. You take down Bamba, you take down the vertical player that would like to be up there trying to support his team. Oh, here comes Canadian. Where's he going? Where are you going, Warden? And you're out of there. Again, just that changed the Monty, Ollie, where he is such a threat now with getting kills. It's second to none. Canadian! Pistol whips Hot Cold into next week.
Canadian's not finished on this Monty. He is out for more. It's still a 3 versus 3, and we've got to be cognizant of that. He can't transition through that rotation, and Gaveni needs to be dealt with here inside a coat. He's going to be full white. NJR's going belt and braces. He's not taking any chances. Going to send another one in. The mag is empty, and NJR knows it. Hops in, gets caught out by the goo, but it doesn't matter. 17 seconds left. Another kill comes in from the hatch. Bolo's replaced Pamba on that top floor. Diffuser, this is your time to shine, but no. Cut down by NJR, taken out, and Canadian can finally let out a scream again.
Oh boy, brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Just Canadian, that aggressive Monty, that was the game changer in that last round, because again, time was really getting away from DarkZero. They didn't have a lot on the clock. You have to say the way NGR played that 1v1 against Gav was very well done. Free flashes, he knows that, and he just keeps one in. Gav fires some bullets in case he does jump in. Second one goes in, fires more bullets. The third one goes in, Gav's out of ammo. Free kill. Yeah,
got to play those smart, and obviously NJR recognising the clock there. I think NJR had a fantastic game, to be fair. There was multiple moments like that. I commented that he was getting some big impactful kills, and a lot of them were like that, where he's using his utility to his advantage. And when you've got Canadian on your team, it's a little bit easier to do that as well, because if he's bearing down on him on the Monty, you're going to have a slightly easier time of things. You can see some of these highlights here from Canadian, and he did quieten down after the first couple of rounds.
Yep.
But that's to be understood.
It's, we've got something, guys. It's Pamba party time. We're having fun here. Look, I've got you a hat.
But it wasn't the Pamba party, though.
No, but still, he wins the game, so you get Pamba party.
Well, I'm going to put this on, and you see, it's not even in the screen.
Does anyone want a slice? Does anyone want one? It's a classic here in the UK. He's called Colin. Everyone say hello to Colin. There he is. And I'm gonna go give us a Pamba.
Well, we're going to have a slice of this. We're going to take a short break, and then we will be back, of course. I do believe we have another best of one in the Swiss format. We are going to be looking at Liquid versus M80. And that
Another
game,
NA team.
Another NA team, but this time going up against Liquid. And if you didn't see Liquid earlier on in the week, they looked fantastic up against G2. So I believe we're going to show to a very short break, and then after that, we will be back with our second game.